For the person that may feel like, oh, I just can't get into this because I'm just going to need too much, or oh, I can't get into sewing because I just really don't have the money to do it. Over the 10 plus years that I've been sewing, I've definitely seen some things that really just kind of rub me the wrong way. There's a lot of videos out there in the YouTube universe that talk about how expensive of a hobby that sewing can be. They tell you that you've got to have the top of the line industrial machine that costs thousands of dollars. You've got to buy $40 bundles of beautiful fabric from your local quilt store. They tell you that you've got to have all of the tools, all of the sewing notions. They tell you that you need every single little tool that's going to make your life easier, because if you have this one special tool, then your entire life gets better. Well, I'm here to tell you that it's a bunch of crap. All of it is crap, and I'm going to give you 4 reasons why I feel that sewing is not an expensive hobby. So grab you something to drink while we go on this ride. First off, lots of the videos tell you that you have to go out and you need to go buy this top of the line machine before you can even start on your sewing journey. Okay, well, that's obviously number one load of BS. First off, I don't know if you've been living under a rock, or maybe, I don't know, a boulder or something like that, but there are lots of different marketplaces out there. There's Facebook Marketplace. There is Craigslist. I think it's still a thing. Maybe. There's thrift stores, there's hand-me-down stores, there's creative resale stores. There's also, in some communities, places that you can actually go to use or rent a sewing machine. The machine that I have, the first one and my main one, was a hand-me-down machine from my in-law. She gave it to me. She never used it. I think it was a hand-me-down from somebody in her family that never used it. She gave it to me because I had, a slight interest in it. It didn't come with like anything. It barely came with bobbins. Like, there were no fancy sewing feed or fancy attachments that went to it. Honestly, I didn't even know how to thread the thing. I had to go deep into the internet to find the manual. And when I first found it, it was in French. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm not sure if I can figure this out, but I did find a version that was English and French. So I printed it off and I went through and I practiced threading that thing. There were so many times I looked at it and I was like, that ain't right. But I went ahead and persevered through it and figured out how to just thread the machine. This isn't even talking about figuring out making a garment or anything like that. This is just the initial figuring out how to get the thread loop-de-looed through the machine. It has served me the best. It's behind my serger right now, but yeah, it has served me better than another machine that was given to me by one of my friends. That was another machine. She didn't know anything about it. It was given to her. She never used it, so she gave it to me. That's my backup machine. Luckily, at the time when I got it, I was able to take it to a place that serviced it. I know that not everybody has that luxury. I'm very, very thankful that there is a place that's relatively close to where I'm at that services machines. I took it in and I was like, hey, can you just give it a rundown? And that initial investment is something that I was very, very thankful for. So buying a fancy sewing machine is absolutely not necessary to start your sewing journey. Also, another side note on that, if all you can get is a $5 sewing kit from the Walgreens down the street, then start with that. You can learn a lot of the basics with just hand sewing tools. So if that's all you've got, I say go with whatever you can get your hands on to get started on the journey. You do not need to spend thousands of dollars on a machine. Hell, you probably don't even need to spend hundreds of dollars, honestly. Some of the machines I've seen on the marketplaces look like very, very good machines. And there's also buy nothing groups that exist as well, to where you can get that initial machine. But once you get that manual in your hands and look through it and learn the ins and outs, you are going to be golden and you are going to be ready to go. So yeah, you don't need to have a super fancy machine. The number two thing that I've heard in YouTube videos talking about, oh, it's such an expensive thing, is that you have to have all of the tools, all of the rulers, all of the scissors, all of the cutting tools, every single little notion and little thing that's going to make life easier. You do not need every single sewing tool that you see out there. I promise you, you don't. I actually have a YouTube video on my channel. I will link it somewhere on the screen that gives you a very, very basic rundown of all the tools to get you started. This is definitely kind of like a beginner, like basis of things that you'll need. There's some of the items in that video that are nice to have, and there's some of the ones in there that I do feel like are going to be a benefit if you have them. But again, a lot of the things that you need, they're not a specific like brand or anything like that. It's not like, oh my gosh, you've got to get a Ginger brand of scissors or something like that. If you see a nice pair of scissors at the thrift store, you see a nice pair of scissors that somebody else can let you borrow for a little bit, get on that. Get on that. Do not feel bad about getting stuff secondhand. I feel like there's like this stigma about secondhand items that's still out there to this day, and I do not understand that. We have so much stuff in society as a whole. We don't really need to buy anything else. And two, like, there's so many resources out there that can be utilized. But yeah, you don't need to have all of the tools in the world to get going on your sewing journey. Okay, number three. Number three is probably going to be a very hot button topic with some people. It's probably going to be a little controversial, but this is a hill that I will stand on from now until eternity. You see a lot of videos out there and they talk about, oh, you've got this bundle of pre-cut fabrics, these charm packs. Look how beautiful the fabrics are, and oh, look, you can get this and everything's cut and you don't have to do anything but sew and go like that. That's fine and dandy, but you do not need to buy that expensive fabric, and that stuff is expensive. I can count probably on one hand the times in my life that I've bought fabric off of a Bolt or like, at a store or whatever. Even when Joann's was around, like, I don't buy fabric off of a Bolt. I don't buy charm packs or jelly rolls or any of those like prepackaged fabrics. I don't do that, like, ever, because I think that they're hella expensive, and I think it's entirely too much money for, if you look around, you can see that there's fabric everywhere. I mean, literally, go to the closet and there's fabric in there. Go to your partner's closet, there's fabric in there. Go to the thrift store. Literally, there's so many other resources from where you can get fabric. I do not believe in buying a $40 pack of pretty fabric that's pre-cut. I mean, it's just wild to me. And I know that that's what people like to do. Like, that's half of the sewing thing. Like, that's part of it, is buying the fabric. Like, oh, I want to look at the pretty fabric and I want to feel that. I get it. I honestly do. But I just don't believe in it. It's just not how I roll. I am an upcycler at my core, and that is what I am moving forward. I'm going to focus more of my channel on upcycling and just teaching people that you can use what you've got. I feel very strongly about this, as you can probably tell from the sass in my voice, but I just don't think that that's necessary. And I mean, I get that retail therapy is fun for people. I've never really been into retail therapy. Most of the materials that I sew with now, like this hoodie right here that I've got on, I made this with thrifted sweatshirts. I took however many colors that it is, and I made this hoodie out of thrifted materials because, I mean, one, hoodies are expensive anyway, but two, I liked the colors and I liked the color scheme, so I put it together with my skills and made it into this, which I think is pretty damn fun. I like it. The fact of people wanting to shove it down your throat that you've got to buy all of this new fabric when there's so much that already exists in the world is absolutely absurd. It's just not necessary. So yeah, buying the expensive fancy bundles of fabric, if that's what you want to do, then go for it. But if you're starting and you want to start on a budget and you just want to get your feet wet and you want to, even see if sewing is something that you would enjoy, then please, please utilize secondhand, your own closet. Things like that are very, very useful for you to get going on your sewing journey. Again, with the fabric, I gotta say one more thing about the fabric. If you're concerned about not being able to find fabric that like coordinates together or that looks good or that works with your taste or anything like that, then just I don't know. I really, really like, I'll give you a couple of resources that I personally have used. Facebook Marketplace, I have used it multiple times to get bundles of fabric, like scraps and things like that, because that's how I roll. But I've seen many, many, many posts of people that are selling those bundles. They're much cheaper than you could get them at the store. But there's also a lot of like fabric destashing groups on Facebook. I'm actually in a group. Well, let's see, I think I'm in like 3 different ones. And I mean, there's people in there constantly. I can't keep up with how many posts are in there. There are people in there constantly that are posting, trying to get rid of fabric that they've had or that they inherited or things like that. So just check out the resources that are available to you to get fabric at a reasonable cost so that you're not having to make this an expensive hobby. Those are the biggest 3 reasons why I do not feel like that sewing is an expensive hobby. It just is. It can't be. It doesn't have to be. And for all of these videos that tell you that you need this and you need that and you need all of this like extra stuff, it's just so unnecessary. If you want to try it and you want to get going, if you want to go head first and you want to go and you want to get you a Singer heavy duty machine, or you want to go to Juki Junkies and you want to get you a $2,500 industrial Juki machine that takes up a lot of space, then if you've got it like that, then you do you. But I've never had it like that. Like, I've never had it to the point to where I can just go out and like do that. I'm always trying to do things on a budget, especially when it comes to a hobby. I just really wanted to make it known my stance on sewing and how things can be, I feel like, a little misconstrued in the sewing community by some people. And I mean, I'm not putting out, I'm not blaming anybody or pointing fingers at anybody, but I just know over the 10 plus years that I've been sewing, I've definitely seen some things that really just kind of rub me the wrong way. For the person that may feel like, oh, I just can't get into this because I'm just gonna need too much, or I can't get into sewing because I need a large like studio space, or oh, I can't get into sewing because I just really don't have the money to do it. And I mean, I completely understand it. I've been there. And I know how it can be to where you try something or you want to try something and you're just like, dang, I can't spend $20 on this specialized ruler that is designed for this one thing. Like, I completely get that. But I'm here to tell you that I've been in your shoes and that it's okay to not have it all. It's okay to start with the basics and to keep things basic. Again, I just want to make it blatantly clear and make it crystal clear that it does not have to be expensive. What's nice about it too is that, hey, if you were to get like a $50 machine off a marketplace and you learned the skill, learned how to do this, and you hated it, you just completely hated it, and you were like, get this machine out of here, then it doesn't take that much effort to just put it back on marketplace or find somebody else that might want it or something like that. Let me know in the comments if there's any other things that you've heard from videos or from articles online that say that sewing is expensive. I'd love to hear if there's some other things that you've seen that you disagree with, or that you are like, okay, that's a little bit weird. I don't know about that one. But yeah, I would love to have a discussion. Like I said, this was a little bit different than normal, but I do appreciate you watching. If you are new here, just want to say this is Festina's Place. I am Christina. Very nice to meet you if you are new. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.